Okay, cool. So I guess if no one else has any other questions, I have like the next 15 minutes is sort of free for anyone else who wants to do like a quick talk about a quick like ad hoc talk that something they want to talk about or whatever. Um, a lot of those 15-minute slots have already been taken up, so I just have one 15-minute time period. But if you just want to talk 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. So anyone in the Google Meet want to talk about something that they've been working on, rant about something Hex related? No, no volunteers. uh, yeah, I mean, I have something if no one else wants to, but I'll just give it a few minutes in case for someone to raise their hand. Let's see. Someone is typing something, but you have to be in the Google Meet though to present. I know we have a way to hook up the Discord to Google Meet. And then after 15 minutes, it's going to be um, Shakar MS talking about using Hex not for games. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Let's see. Well, if no one, if anyone wants to talk something, feel free to interrupt me. I'd rather someone else talk than just me talk, but I'll talk a little bit about one thing that I kind of cut out due to lack of time from my original thing. So temporarily, this temporarily. Okay, so I will present maybe I'll just present my video. Okay, so
Might have something like it's really like 1 minute to
you have
look
something?
into what I want to talk about. I recently
Yeah,
started
sure.
making a computer vision library because I wanted to use something computer vision related in my app, and I realized there's nothing, and I created it. And the reason I wanted to mention it here is because I want it to be more of a collaborative effort, not just me doing everything single-handedly. Because one, I'm not the, I'm not, I don't know everything about it. I'm constantly learning about things. And I thought I'll mention it here because maybe other people are also interested in developing something like that. So, yeah, I already made like a couple of things. I completed like a half transform, Gaussian blur, and stuff like that for line detection and things. I can send the link to the GitHub in the Discord or maybe the chat of the Google Meet. But yeah, if anybody wants to work on something like that or maybe can help me, especially with the half transform, I for the life of me can't figure out how to extract lines from the house space I'm generating. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna send the link in the HaxeHybrid chat and maybe here too.
I have one question about it. Are you is the plan on implementing the computer vision code like directly in Hex, or are you just using like externs to existing like machine learning libraries and stuff like that?
Everything is directly in Hacks, and the reason I wanted to do this is because like everything is extensively documented. I actually really like documenting code, so you can see like above a couple of functions, you have like a pretty beefy code, a common block explaining what that function does. So like above the class implementing the half transform, you have an explanation of how the thing works. And I'm trying to make all of the code and anywhere from like creating the 2D Gaussian kernel from actually converting an image to house space. I want to make everything really clear and heavily documented. So yeah, that's the reason it's in plain hacks.
Yeah, that I'm a big proponent of doing everything in Hacks. I think a lot of people just like externs as a shortcut, but when it's in Hacks, you can truly take advantage of Hacks's ability to make uh, out to have multiple targets. Then if it's in Hacks, then we can get that cool computer vision stuff, whether you're in JavaScript or something else. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have any questions about that?
About that, like, also for me it was pretty hard because, like, especially with the half transform, I pretty much didn't understand it, and it took me a while. So I understand why people like to use externs. Even before I wanted to make that library, I just tried to find OpenCV externs so I could use the half transform. But yeah, I kind of just said, wait, why not? I have the time. I really want to do it, so let's just
Yeah.
make it, and then other people could enjoy it too.
Cool. Okay, that sounds good. Uh, if no one has any more questions, then there's still like 9 minutes before the next talk. If anyone else has anything they want to share with everyone. Oh, cool. Lawrence? Oh, I don't hear you.
I thought it was very gradual you put the camera on. There we go.
Okay.
Right, that was mad.
Okay, cool. Yeah, now you sound normal.
Well, yeah, that was feedback from
Yeah.
devices going on there. I'm going to, well, I've got a bunch of libraries that I'd like to, have you got 5 minutes? I'd like to show, so I will do that. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Right, how are we doing? Right, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn that down. All right. No. Right. Just okay. So there's a bunch of stuff here. Some of it is approaching ready. Well, basically speaking, it's a lot of process related and sort of infrastructure code and trying to be clever, I suppose. If I try and get up to date with what's what. Okay, so at the bottom of the stack, we've got Pico, which is a lot of these are analogous to what Tink was doing, what Back to DOS has been doing, with sort of my own sort of ideas about how to do things and a few copies and so on and so forth. Very simple. Pico is all of the things that you want out of the way, because the chances are you've got an option, either, various things like that. If you go up the chain, you go to Nano, which is a bit more involved. And in here, we've got, well, the main, it was supposed to be a small library, but you know how it goes. Odd future types I have got. We've got 2 or 3 different types of future types, floats, ints.
Someone's asking for larger text on Discord. Maybe they're having a hard time seeing.
Well, I'll struggle. I will struggle because this is dreamt up 2 minutes ago when he said, "Oh, look, there's a slot."
Yeah.
Where are we? I'm not on my programming rig, so can anybody see that better?
Yeah, that's
I
way
can see
better. Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically speaking, it's a sort of standard library plus. Something I found out that I've been doing some work which is a lot like what they've been doing with Rust, which is to have an error type. Because rather in doing functioning programming, rather than throwing things, you tend to pass them forward. So there's an error system, which is it's a little bit involved, but it's good for capturing both errors which you are sure of and ones which you don't know about, and having a type annotation for them. So you wind up, and this permeates through all the rest of the code. So, for example, I've got an asynchronous sort of, as opposed to sys, it's asys. And you find yourself doing things like, you find your failures are in a list like this. So you can do sort of pattern matching on them. And so you find yourself, you've got the future type. It's difficult to, we got feedback from one fellow, but Tink has, what is it? Promises. I've got one or two type annotations. Anybody? I can't read any of the text as well either because I'm on the. Okay, so simplified. We have got, for example, res, which is a result type definition, right? This one has a bunch of, as you would normally expect. There's two of these. There's one outcome, which is either one or the other without any particular error type, and then there's another with an error type in there. Wait a minute, let me drop that into the latest one. Right, and then this is the same form and format as pledge, which is the future version of the same thing, and has more or less the same API, right? So you can go from your immediate passing forward errors or passing forward values and jump into the future version of that without really skipping a beat and without having to think too hard about what your API is like. And also, you can jump from that into something where you've consumed the value and you are merely sending around an error in the future, right? Which is a wrapping of again, going back to non-future and just passing values, a report, which is possibly an error. So you've got a whole set of tools with the same API. I know it's difficult to see what the hell is going on in here because it's written in such a way as you've got a type definition underneath, and then you've got abstract on top of that, and then the API itself is written as static attachments to the API. So you can do odd things like sort of applicative style, where you use the static function and pass the and then at the end of the chain of functions have the value go through. So all of these are statics. And so here, okay, the enumeration, res. There is on top of that an abstract which you can do from and to and various outcomes, be it standard library or anything else. There's a bind fold. And then there's a lift, which takes a res as the first operation. So that is then attached via the new using annotation. And on here, there is an underscore. So res underscore, and that will attach you to the static, and then you can bind that. So if you say had the function for a zip, now if you had the second for a zip or zip with, you can then accumulate back to front, and then you've got a function from res to res that you can then later on throw down the value through your chain. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah, more or less. Do you have any questions about it? Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah.
It's not an unusual way of doing things, but it's not really native to Hax, I don't suppose. But I've been doing it that long that it's second nature to me. So I'm having a hell of a job trying to explain it. Anyway, we've got data structures, immutable data structures. There's an immutable list in there. There's even a mutable graph in there, which is quite interesting. So you can do a few simple graph. It's not finished, but I haven't really used it. So, but there is the bones of a mutable graph implementation, which I think somebody was asking about a little while ago. Query, not done. Object model is quite interesting because you've got, this is very simple, straightforward, but you can unpack dynamic objects into a set of values that you can then run pattern matching on, and also you can unpack that into a simple type definition. Schema also not finished. Fletcher is something I talked about donkeys years ago, and that is pretty much finished. But it's been a hell of a time to document it. It's arrows and arrowlets, and it's quite interesting for doing asynchronous processes, parallel sequential composition, and now they've got a sort of a background runner for the different things, the main event, main loop. It attaches onto that, and you compose your functions, and then you throw it to the main event or main loop, and it'll run it for you. And you don't have to think too much about asynchronicity. You can use either asynchronous functions, callback functions. There's even a thing for events and how to turn events into arrows, and then you can string that all together and let it run. It's quite interesting. Where are we?
Okay, cool. I think we're kind of cutting into Shakar's time. Yeah.
Anyway, if anybody has got any idea what I'm talking about, and it would be interested in finding out more, you can. I'm on home run on the what is it? Discord channel.
Yeah.
And home run at PM me. There we go. Bet you wish you hadn't asked now.